question is the medium range weather forecasting is valid for. So the correct answer is 3 to 10 days. Okay. So here the weather prediction is usually done within 3 to 10 days. So this forecasting is generally issued by IMD, that is Indian Meteorological Department, New Delhi. Okay. And here the accuracy is 70 to 80%. Okay. And 3 days, this is for short range forecasting. And 15 to 20 days, this will be like extended range forecasting, that is ERF. Okay. And 21 to 25 days, this is a part of extended range forecast. So here the correct answer for medium range weather forecast is valid for 3 to 10 days. That is the correct answer, folks. And the next question is identify the correct order of atmospheric layer arrangement from the surface of the earth to top layer of the atmosphere. You know the five different atmospheric layers present from the surface of the earth to top layer, right? So that thing we have to arrange correctly. But here the arrangement is given differently and this will be confusing. You should choose the correct one. So the correct answer is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. So usually here the troposphere layer which is present from 0 to 12 kilometers from the surface of the earth. Okay. So weather happens usually here. Here the temperature decreases with the height. And this layer will have clouds, 80% air, clouds and rains and all. So followed by stratosphere. So stratosphere, this layer is from 12 to 15 kilometer. Here, the very important thing is related to ozone. So here the temperature increases due to the ozone layer. Okay. And in this particular layer, where the ozone layer is there, ozone layer which absorb the UV. Okay. That is also very important. And mesosphere, which is from 50 to 85 kilometer. This is the most coldest layer. Here the temperature decreases again. Okay. And finally, thermosphere, which is more than 85 kilometer from the surface of the earth. Here the temperature increases sharply. Okay. And this is also called ionosphere part. Understood? And you can remember like TSMT. TSMT. Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere. Okay. Like you can remember like Tamil students must top TSMT. Like that you can easily remember. But sometimes you may be confusing with tropo and thermo because both are starting with T, right? So remember one thing, trophy is very much important for us. So this should come first. Like that you can remember. Okay. TSMP. Why others are wrong? So thermosphere, stratosphere, here the TSMT is there, but troposphere is coming last. So this is wrong. Okay. And here troposphere, mesosphere is there. But it should be TSMT, right? So S should come second. This is also wrong. And here also thermosphere is coming first. This is also wrong. So the correct order is troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. The next question is total number of agroclimatic zones of Tamil Nadu is. So the correct answer is 7. So, Tamil Nadu is divided into 7 zones based on certain categories like rainfall, soil, temperature, and cropping pattern and all. Okay. So, what are these 7 zones? Northeastern zone, northwestern zone, western zone, central zone, then southern zone, high rainfall zone, then high rainfall and hilly zone. Okay, 7 zones are there. So high rainfall zone is that is Kanyakumari region and hilly zone. There also, among the 7 different zones, there we will receive the most rainfall in hilly zone, where Nilgiris, Ercot, Kodaikanal and all will come. Okay. So most rainfall zone is the hilly zone, which receives more than 2000 mm of rainfall. And lowest rainfall is in the western zone. Okay, there we can see the dryland agriculture like Coimbatore, Erode and all. Okay, and this is the thing. And when it comes to the climatic zone, you should know what is the Kaveri Delta zone, that is central zone, which is also known as rice bowl region of Tamil Nadu, which is also very much important. Okay, the next question is the recommended emergence herbicide for maize and pulse intercrop. So the options are atrazine, pendimethalin, butachlor, quizalof, ethyl. So the correct answer is pendimethalin. Okay. So this can be act as a pre-emergence herbicide. What is pre-emergence herbicide? Before weed comes, we are going to eradicate the weed. Okay. So before the weed comes, we are going to spray the herbicide. That is pre-emergence. Post-emergence means once the weed is emerged, we are going for the post-application. We are going for the application of herbicide. That is post-emergence herbicide. Okay. Here for the maize and pulse intercrop, we commonly recommended pendimethalin as a pre-emergence herbicide to be sprayed. Okay. At 0.75 kg active ingredient per hectare. So atrazine, this will be commonly used for sugarcane. So this is highly flexible and act both as pre as well as post-emergence herbicide. But this is primarily used on the crops like sugarcane, maize, sorghum and all, but not with the pulse intercrop. Okay, and this may be applied at the rate of 0.75 kg active ingredient per hectare. And butachlor, this is again a pre-emergence herbicide, and this is a selective pre-emergence herbicide and primarily applied to the weed, primarily applied to the soil before the weeds germinate. Okay, to control annual grasses, sedges, and all. And this is, primarily used for in the rice transplantation field and all. Okay, not for the maize with the pulse intercrop field. This is generally recommended for rice. Okay, for controlling echinoclova, sedges, and annual grasses and all. So this will stop the weeds from sprouting by interrupting the cell division and protein synthesis in the germinating seedlings. Okay, so this is primarily used in paddy or rice field. Okay, and the rate is 1 kg active ingredient per hectare is commonly used. Then Quizalof-ethyl, this is a selective and systemic post-emergence herbicide. So among the different options, the only post-emergence herbicide is Quizalof-ethyl. This is used to control grassy weeds in broadleaf crops like soybean, cotton, and peanuts and all. Okay, and application rate is 0.5 kg active ingredient per hectare. So the correct answer for maize and pulse intercrop herbicide is pendimethalin. Next question is tiller production in rice is greatly affected by, and the options are complete drainage, prolonged stagnation of water, alternate wetting and drying, and short period subemergence. So the correct answer is prolonged stagnation of water is the important one, which is affecting the tiller production in rice. Why? Because there will be the effect on oxygen deficiency in root zone. So that if you are keeping the water stagnation for the longer time, what happened? The oxygen deficiency will be there in the root zone, so that roots cannot respire. So tillets buds will automatically die. There will be the poor tiller formation. Okay, and you can see the yellow leaves as well. So, rice needs 5 centimeter of water, but not a deep stagnation. So, deep water more than 10 centimeter for the longer time actually suppress the tiller buds and causes the ethylene accumulation. Okay, and why others are wrong? Complete drainage. In this case, if you are draining the complete water means there will be the plant wilt occurring in this field. But, uh, tiller production stops, but it is extreme. The question asking like greatly affected by, but the common practice, but not, this is not recommended at all. Okay, so greatly affected by means prolonged stagnation of water only. Alternate wetting and drying, actually, this will actually increase the tiller production. Okay, so this is not an answer for this. Then short period submergence, which doesn't have any major effect because rice can tolerate 2 to 3 days submergence. Submergence conditions, rice can actually tolerate up to 3 days, and tillering will recover. And only prolonged, like more than 7 days, is actually harmful. Okay, so among the different options, the only thing is prolonged stagnation of water is greatly affecting the tiller production in rice. Question is identify the incorrect or wrong statement about irrigation. So the different options are given. So the wrong statement is irrigation is to keep the soil wet. Why it is wrong means if the soil is kept wet continuously, it may cause the waterlogging, poor aeration, root rot, and leaching of nutrients. So as per the principle of irrigation, is to maintain the soil moisture at the field capacity. Okay, now to keep the soil wet. Okay, soil needs both water as well as air. Okay, so the wrong statement is this one. Option is C. Okay, and these three are actually true. Irrigation is to provide the crop insurance against the short duration drought. Okay, and irrigation is to cool the soil and atmosphere. This is actually true. Okay, and irrigation is to wash out or dilute the salts in the soil. This is actually correct. So these three options are correctly given. The only wrong statement given here is irrigation is to keep the soil wet. Next question is intermittent on and off system is followed in which type of irrigation system? And the options are level border, border strip, surgictation, and basin irrigation. So the correct answer is surgication because this is the advanced furrow irrigation technique where the water is applied in the intermittent pulses rather than the continuous flow. It will be applied sometimes on, sometimes off, like that. So advanced phase, that is on time, water is pulsed into one set of furrows and the rapid flow advances quickly down the field. And the soak phase will be there, that is off system. Here the valves switch the flow to the other half of the field. So while the water is diverted, the newly wet soil in the first section undergoes the temporary consolidation which partially seal the soil micro crack. So now you may be understanding about the surge system, which is on and off system. Okay, this is not a continuous flow. We are giving the intermittent on and off system. Okay, only to the furrows, and this will be mostly suitable for the crop like maize, cotton, sugarcane, and all, so that we can save the water up to 40%. Okay, so and other three options are generally like continuous flow. So water is applied continuously. Here in the case of level border, the water is applied continuously until the whole border strip is covered. Here no on or off system is followed and the border strip here also similar to level border. Long narrow strips will be there with a continuous sheet flow. And basin, here the continuous flow plus ponding will be there. So water is ponded and kept until the infiltration and this will be used for rice fields. And here also no intermittent on and off system is followed. The next question is ULB spraying of herbicides refers to. And the options are ultra light violet, unlimited light visibility, ultra low volume, and ultra linear variation. And the correct answer is ultra low volume. So here the water is used is very less. That is 5 liter per hectare is commonly used. So for this, we are going to use the ultra low volume sprayer, which is the specialized device that breaks down the concentrated pesticides, herbicides, and all into very fine droplets. So this will allow you to efficiently cover the large space using the minimal chemical volume. Okay, so only 5 liter can cover more acres of land. Okay, so this will be like 1 to 5 liters only compared to the traditional sprayer. traditional sprayer where, that will be relying on the water dilution. But here, instead of mixing chemical with a large amount of water, ULB formulations are usually like oil based, that will be applied as a highly concentrated liquid directly. Because of the droplets are so light, they can drift on the wind or disperse uniformly into the air and lingering into cracks and crevices for the maximum pest and weed control. Okay. And other options are wrong for this because spraying means that is a ULV, that is ultra low volume only. These are totally irrelevant to the question. The next question is dash which weed is the alternate weed host for the ergot disease in pearl millet? And the options are Cenchrus ciliaris, Saccharum spontaneum, Crotalaria species, and Parthenium. And the correct answer is Cenchrus ciliaris. So the common name is Anjan grass or buffet grass. Here, the disease is ergot disease, which is caused by the Claviceps fusiformis. So, the Claviceps fusiformis surveys on the weed Cenchrus ciliaris during the off season. Okay, so spores from this weed during the off season will infect the pearl millet crop. Okay, so what is the management here is that we should remove the Cenchrus ciliaris and other grasses from the field but before the pearl millet sowing to the field. So that we can break the disease cycle. Okay, so that is the reason. And others like Saccharum spontaneum, which is the alternate host for sugarcane red rot and all, not for red rot disease. And Crotalaria, which is alternate host for root knot nematode, like Sundump and all. The common name is Sundump, right? And Parthenium, which is the alternate host for tomato spotted wilt virus and not for egg rot. Okay. The next question is the combined effect of weed infestation due to allelochemicals and competition is termed as. So remember one thing: if there is a combination, means you should pick the answer interference because this means that combined effect of competition as well as allelopathy. Allelopathy means that is effect caused by the allelochemicals. Here, the total harmful effect of weeds on the crops include both resource competition as well as the chemical effect. So, that is termed as interference. Competition means that like weeds generally compete with the crop for light, water, nutrients, and all. Allelopathy means that we generally release the allelochemicals, right? Certain chemicals that can be released through root or something that is able to inhibit the crop germination. So interference means the combined effect of these both competition as well as allelopathy. Okay, and why others are wrong? And also I would like to tell one more thing about this interference. For an example, Parthenium, which reduces the crop yield both by taking nutrients by competition as well as by releasing chemical by allelopathy effect also, so that it will stop the seed germination. Okay, interference means combination of allochemical, that is allopathy effect, and competition. Allopathy means only the chemical effect. Okay, and eradication means here we go for the complete removal of weeds. This is a method of weed control not related to the effect of allopathy or competition and all. And parasitism here, one plants used on the another, example Cuscuta striga, they actually take the food directly, not about the allelochemicals and competition and all coming under the term defined parasitism. Okay, the next question is fourfold food production occurred in which revolution? They ask. And the options given for this are white revolution, green revolution, blue revolution, and none. So the correct answer is green revolution. So this was, happened in the year 1966 to 1978 in India. And more importantly, you should know the father of Green Revolution, that is Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, who is known as father of Green Revolution in India. So during this period, what happened? Food grain production was increased 4 times, more than 4 times, from 50 million tons in 1950 to 200 plus million tons by 1980. Okay, so this is the correct answer for this. And white revolution, which is completely relevant to milk production, that is operated or the achievement behind this revolution is Dr. V. Korean, who made the India largest milk producer. Okay, and the blue revolution, which is relevant to fish production. Here, the fish and aquaculture production has been increased, and this is relevant to fish. Okay, so the correct answer relevant to food production is green revolution. The next question is the book Horse Wooing Husbandry was written by, and the options are Arthur T. Young, Jethro Tull, Van Helmont, Sir Humphrey Davy. So the correct answer is Jethro Tull, who has written the book Horse Going Husbandry in the year 1731 in English. Okay, and he is also known as father of modern seed drill. Okay, he said that ploughing and hoeing is more important than manure for the crop growth. Okay, so Arthur Young, he is the English agriculturist, travel writer, and he wrote the book Annals of Agriculture. Okay, not for this book. And Van Helmont, this is he is the Belgian scientist, and he did the willow tree experiment, and he proved that what is essential for plant growth, and he's not having any relevance with the book here it's mentioned. And Sir Humphrey Davy, he is a father of agricultural chemistry, and he has written the book Element of Agricultural Chemistry. He worked on soil chemistry and soil fertilizers. Okay. The next question is, which hybrid is the Kambu hybrid, uh, which is basically enriched with iron content? So the options are hybrid CO9, CO5, CO10, CO9. CO9 is nothing but Coimbatore variety, right? So it was released from TNE. So the correct answer is hybrid Coimbatore 9. So Penicillium glaucum, which is the scientific name of Kambu. So the variety hybrid Coimbatore 9 that is released by Tamil Nadu Agricultural University Coimbatore, and this variety has a peculiar trait that is it is biofortified hybrid variety with the high iron content and also with the zinc content. Okay, so this variety is developed for the nutritional security purpose and to fight the anemia as well, since it has a more iron content, right? And this hybrid Coimbatore 5, this is also high yielding variety, but not enriched with iron content. And Coimbatore 10, this is the drought tolerant variety. Okay, so this is not a hybrid one, and this is not having iron content also. And Coimbatore 9 variety, which is again open pollinated variety. This two, which means Coimbatore 10 and 9, these two are open pollinated varieties and high yielding, but not having the iron content. So the correct answer is hybrid Coimbatore 9 is a hybrid and enriched with biofortified hybrid variety enriched with iron and zinc content just to fight against the anemia, and it was developed for the nutritional security. The next question is, the rice variety recommended under semi-dry conditions. So the options given for this are Anna 4, Ardhare 50, and CR, that is CRRA variety, right? CR 1009 and Coimbatore variety 52. So the correct answer for this question is Anna 4. Okay, so this is the variety released by Tamil Nadu Agricultural University, Coimbatore, and this can be basically grown in semi-dry or aerobic condition. Okay, with very less water, like upland fog. Okay, so it has a special trait. Like this variety is the drought tolerant variety. Okay, so that we can save the water up to 50%. Then the transplanted rice. Okay, so now continuous standing water is actually record for this. Okay, so this can be suitable for the rain-fed areas where the water is usually scarce. Okay, so semi-dry means you should also You should remember the Anna 4. Okay. And you should understand the concept because this is a semi-dry condition variety where the water is very less. So ADT 50 is the irrigated lowland variety. This basically requires the standing water. And CR 1009, this is the coastal saline area variety. This is the lowland variety and also it is the salt tolerant one. It requires the puddled condition for the CR 1009. And Coimbatore 52, this is also irrigated or direct stone variety. This is the high yielding variety, but for the normal transplanted condition, this is not a semi-dry one. Okay. The next question is the recommended dose of the fertilizer for rain-fed maize in algae soil is they ask. So the correct answer is 60, 30, 30. So for the rain-fed maize, generally we will recommend very less fertilizer than the irrigated one. Okay. Remember one thing for high yielding irrigated maize variety, the recommended base fertilizer dose is typically 250, 75, 75. Okay. Nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. For the rain fed, this will be very lesser than the irrigated one. That you should remember. Okay. So 60, 30, 30. You might be knowing what is algae soil, which is nothing but red soil, low in fertility and moisture. Okay, so here the rain-fed crop usually get very less moisture, so the fertilizer dose is generally lower than the irrigated. We will go for the split application, right? So next question is like now we should also discuss the other options, right? Why other options are wrong? So this is for the rain-fed sorghum or combo, okay? Because the K is not given for millets and the dose is too low for the maize. Okay, so this is not the right answer for this. This is generally recommended for rain-fed sorghum. And this one is for irrigated maize. This is the old recommendation. Okay, and this is generally higher dose than the rain-fed, but this is the old recommendation. Okay, and 90, 45, 45, this is for hybrid maize irrigated one. It's a very high dose, right? So only for the irrigated high yield hybrids. Okay. The next question is the organic matter content of the peat soil. So what is peat soil? This is the basically called as muck soil, right? Or gok soil, basically found in Kerala and coastal Tamil Nadu region. And this will be formed in waterlogged anaerobic conditions where the decomposition will be very slow. Okay. So here the organic matter content they ask. So the different options are given. So the correct answer is more than 50%. So the peat soil is having more than 50 percentage of organic matter. Okay. So it is having more than 50 percentage of organic carbon. So that's why it is called organic soil. Peat soil is also known for organic soil and muck soil. Okay. So this is basically dark brown to black in color and this is having the high water holding capacity and it is generally acidic in nature. Okay. So if it is less than 20 means that it will be basically mineral soil. So peat is not a mineral. This is the organic. Okay. And 20 to 50 is organo-mineral soil. And mineral soil is less than 20. Okay. The next question is an average NPK content of sewage and sludge. So, sewage and sludge, this is the dried solid residues from the treatment plants, right? So, we'll have to know the NPK content present in the sewage and sludge. And the correct answer is 3 to 6 percentage of nitrogen and only 2 percentage of phosphorus and very low one amount of potassium, that is 1%. Okay, so this is the TNA recommendation rate, and this will be generally having the rich amount of nitrogen. Okay, so the nitrogen and phosphorus will be rich, and potassium will be low. Okay, and also it has a minimal amount of micronutrients as well. And this will be used as a good organic manure so that we can improve the soil structure since it provides the nutrients very slowly. Okay. So students, you should remember Seabag and Syad is having the good amount of nitrogen and phosphorus and very low amount of potassium. So why others are wrong? Because they are not having the good amount of nitrogen. So 2 to 3 and 2 to 4, this is the very low. And even though it is having the good amount of nitrogen, the potassium is basically equal to the phosphorus. But potassium should be lesser than the phosphorus in the sewage and sludge. So the correct answer is option C. Okay.